The Game Boy Advance SP is probably one of the best EDC-able retro handheld consoles that is not like emulation. Somebody on Instagram was like, yo, what is that pen? And then someone's just like, yeah, it's a Bic.
It's a Bic. And then I got patted down going in. The guy was like, I can't take that from you, sir. I can't take your tool from you, but I can't tell you what to do with it either. But there just so happens to be a trash can right in front of me. So...
What's up, everyone? Welcome to Carried Away, the weekly podcast where we nerd out about all things EDC gear and maybe try to teach you a thing or two while we're at it. I'm Bernard, the founder of EverydayCarry.com, and I'm joined today by our editor, Mikey.
Hey, what's up?
So in this episode, we're going to be doing another community EDC review roundup. And the way this works is we look through our different communities on social media, so Facebook, Reddit, and Discord for some banger setups to show you guys today. And if you're listening to this episode on a podcast app, I do recommend you check out the YouTube version of this just so you can better get a sense of what the pocket dumps we're talking about are. And also, another pro tip, if you're watching this on YouTube already, just go over to the bottom right, click that gear icon and hit that 1.25x. It'll be fun, trust me. But if you want your submissions featured in the next roundup, feel free to participate in our online groups. So we will link to our private Facebook group, our subreddit, and our Discord servers. And then if you just want to submit your EDC without talking to other people, you can just upload it to a form, and we'll have that linked in the description and show notes as well. So with that out of the way, it's been a while since we caught up on the show. Mikey, where are you right now? Why aren't you in a basement?
Welcome to the sunny hills of northern San Francisco. I'm still, I guess, on the move since our last meetup in Las Vegas. I'm here visiting family, staying a little bit longer in the States. And yeah, I'm in a very, I'm very out of my element here.
Why do you feel that way?
It's all colorful and vivid and actual daylight. So
yeah, I don't think I've seen you in natural sunlight before.
I know. Sunlight is a very strange sensation. You guys have it pretty good.
Have you done anything cool while you're there up in Northern California?
Yeah, we've done the whole tourist thing. We rode on the ferry. We went into the city. We went to the usual landmarks, the ferry building and Fisherman's Wharf and all of that. And yeah, we're going to be exploring a little bit more and just having some nice food, being together with our family here in the US, and yeah, enjoying the weather. It's been really crappy past few days, but today's the sunlight is out, so perfect place to record and sit outside and enjoy the sunlight, I think.
Nice. I'm jealous. It's been like raining down here in LA too. But now that you're up there, how's your EDC holding up? We've been on the
really
move.
Good.
We did that travel episode. Like we did the travel episode. We told people what to do and what not to do when traveling, and now we've been tested, right?
Yes, I've been tested. I fell for the bait. So being the most prepared guy on the trip for our retreat had backfired on me. So when we were in Vegas, we went to the Sphere to check out that new attraction, the big Sphere thing. And I didn't realize that they had TSA level security going in because I guess it's a concert venue.
Yeah,
and
I thought it was just like we watch a movie. I thought it was like a movie theater.
Exactly. That's exactly what I thought. So, of course, I had my multi-tool and I had my flashlight on me. And then I got patted down going in. So I had to, unfortunately, the guy was like, I can't take that from you, sir. I can't take your tool from you, but I can't tell you what to do with it either. But there just so happens to be a trash can right in front of me. So we'll leave it up to you. So naturally, I had to throw it. But fortunately, thanks to Amazon Prime, you graciously let me replace it. So
we bought you another one.
Yeah.
But dude, I was right behind you in line watching that go down, and it was like just as painful for me probably to see that.
So I have the Team Leatherman hoodie and everything, and I had to lose my Leatherman, and fortunately we replaced it. But that kind of sucked.
Yeah, that did suck. And then cautionary tale. If you guys are in Vegas and you're going to go to the Sphere for a concert or like one of the attractions or whatever, the Sphere is like this You can't miss it. It's literally just this big sphere with like screens on the outside and on the inside. It's kind of like a big IMAX. I know that's not what this episode is about, but anyway,
Yep.
if you go there, be prepared to leave your edged stuff at home. And then also, once you get inside, this is where I got. Once you get inside, they check your bag too. So if you have anything bigger than a purse or like a fanny pack, they take it away. So they took my bag away, and it had my hearing protection in there and like my flashlight and whatever. So then by the time like I was in the sphere, in the actual venue and watching the movie, I was like, well, I don't have my hearing protection. And I was just kind of uncomfortable.
Yeah, we do be feeling naked without our stuff on.
Yeah. So I mean, we're not perfect. Do as we say, not as we do. I think that is a good lesson for this podcast.
Okay, one last anecdote as well. We met up with one of our colleagues. He was wearing a Leatherman tread, and this guy is on the road all the time, on planes and going through security all the time. And he says the Leatherman tread, the bracelet, we'll have our editor put it up on screen. But he says that the bracelet lets him get through. He's been able to carry it through TSA on the plane. Hasn't given him a problem. Again, though, your mileage may vary. Not everybody's gonna be. Sometimes you just get checked, and
yeah.
So that's the first I've heard of a tool that's more than a tiny pair of scissors that's gotten through. So, but again, your mileage may vary. Don't risk it if you don't want to. If you don't want to risk it.
Right. Speaking of bracelets and Las Vegas, not everything was an L. So when I was there, actually at SHOT Show, there's a Cartier store where the hotel the SHOT Show is held at. So I went in there and I saw like a very small Cartier tank. And if you don't know the tank, it's like this small postage stamp sized iconic dress watch. Exactly. That everyone from like Andy Warhol to Muhammad Ali, they're all rocking that. There's like a iconic picture of them wearing it, and it's just like this small watch. So anyway, I got one of those. It was like the last limited edition black version of that. And
time to add Bernard Kapulang to that list, huh?
Yeah. I would have to like leave my apartment to be photographed wearing this to be added to that list of iconic people. But yeah, so I got this, happy about it, added another watch to the collection. I'm kind of leaning into this I enjoy watches identity or persona now that we're making more content, just to like show people that watches can be cool too. If you haven't checked out the last episode, by the way, it is about watches and we share more of our thoughts there.
We yap a lot on that one.
Yeah. Speaking of yapping a lot, let's put an end to that and jump right into the submission. So we're going to go over to Facebook, our private Facebook group, the Inner Circle.
There's a lot going on in there. It's a fairly large group.
Yeah. So just pull this up on my screen. This is our first submission from Alex Smith. And for context, these are the most engaged with like data-driven, posts. So this one had 260 likes. That's like kind of a lot. More than what I can do on Facebook for sure. So what do we got going on here from Alex?
We've got a bunch of old versus new, a lot of classics and some new stuff, and some stuff on the side. So we've got the classic lap shot. I believe that's a PM2, isn't it?
It looks to be the case. It's pretty big. This is like across his entire thigh. So I'm going to say, it's a paramilitary 2 from Spyderco.
With a nice customized clip.
Yep.
With a lot of embellishment on it. I believe that's one of the MX clips. And paired with a very traditional green. I believe that's one of the toothpick type traditional knives, isn't it? Slip joints.
What does it say?
And then
does it say Remington? Let's enhance. I think it's Remington. Yeah.
True. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
So we have a fairly classic paramilitary 2 with a traditional Remington slip joint and a more modern keychain, transparent keychain flashlight, which is pretty cool. And a nice little coin on the side as well for fidgeting purposes and for collection purposes. So, what do you think of this one?
I can see why a bunch of people like it. It's like no nonsense, and then other than I would imagine this like customized knife, customized in the clip hardware. Um,
Mhm.
I don't think this is like too much of a expensive setup. Not that
Yeah.
like we're judging stuff on whether it's expensive or not, and
Mhm.
that's a metric of it being good. Um, but sometimes, as is the case on social media, especially for one of being the most liked posts in the group, you might expect that, oh, it's just like unobtainable stuff, and this is
Mhm.
not that, as far as I can tell. So that's really cool.
That's right.
Like one of these flashlights, you can grab these. I don't think they're branded, and they're a couple dollars, and you get
Mhm.
access to modern LED keychain light form factor with some side lights on the side, and in this cool like plastic
Transparent. Yeah.
see-through body. Yeah. And then it's also sitting on this. I'm assuming this is a wallet for like actual cards and cash, but it's
Yeah.
kind of like a,
Not a caddy.
yeah, it's not a caddy,
Yeah. Sure.
with like snap closure, that kind of thing. So pretty cool. This is from Alex Smith,
Yeah.
and
Thanks for submitting.
people seem to like it. So thank you. And just really quickly, let's see the other people jumping in here, like kind of similar with
Yeah.
this. Uh,
Knife, light, and coin.
yep, yep.
Actual
And
currency this time, though.
oh, and a lot of people are liking this duality of like a more modern,
Mm.
higher end knife, and then a more classic
Traditional
knife.
slip joint. Yeah.
You got the I think this
I
is
like that.
the,
That is an interesting combo.
yeah.
Just show you have the experience of both a modern knife and one of the more classic ones.
Yeah, this one, this is a little bit more of an expensive carry,
Mm.
but still very good.
Yeah.
Very cool. Okay, so thank
Cool.
you.
Very cool. I
Yeah,
agree.
very cool. Thank you to Alex. Let's move on to the next one. This is from Vampiro EDC, I believe out of
Vampiro.
Mexico.
Yes.
Yes, and this is
Lots and
both
lots of
a pocket dump
lots. Yeah.
and a bag.
Yes. Vampiro has a ton of submissions, both on our site and in the group.
Mm.
So he's got a lot of stuff, and it's also another very attainable one. I believe that's a Civivi knife. Is
Yeah,
it?
let's scroll through the gallery real quick.
Enhance,
First, oh, gotta
enhance.
hit us with the wrist shot,
Mm,
the
classic.
Casio. Yeah,
Commending also the color theme here, olive green.
yeah, and it looks good for kind of like this outdoor setting, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, this is a Civivi. Oh, but with a nice Damascus blade here.
Very nice. I believe
Yeah.
this is the Cubit. Cubit
Oh
button
yeah,
lock
Cubit
with
button
the
lock. Yeah.
Damascus.
So
Yeah, aluminum handles.
I have the blue aluminum with the not as cool blade. And the cool thing about the Civivi Cubit, let's look at it closed. Oh, it's not closed in this dump, but when it's closed, the part where the the back of the blade like interfaces with the button lock, I guess, is
Hmm.
scalloped in such a way that you can use it as a bottle opener.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's a
So
neat trick.
something to do there. And then we got this, looks like a well-worn leather wallet, flap
Hmm.
closure. And here is just the pocket dump section. So it does have a caddy with another knife. Two more knives.
Two more knives,
Yeah.
of course.
So
Yeah,
one is
I'm
the
just
Swiss Army knife.
commending how close he got all of these green items together. Like the caddy is exactly the color of the cubit and exactly the color of the watch and the bag. So props to the theme, because like you see the hank is a different, just a darker shade of olive green.
Mm-hmm.
But the rest of the stuff, even the Swiss Army knife, is kind of close to how that green is. So yeah,
Yeah.
I
What
really
do you
like
think
it.
about Hanks? Did we talk
I think
about
they're
this?
useful. I think.
Yeah.
Well,
I
you
want to
would.
try one out.
Yeah.
I
I
want to try
wanted.
one out.
I think they would be useful in. The only thing that kind of puts me off from using a hank is if you use it accidentally to like blow your nose or cough or something. It kind of becomes contaminated. That's why I prefer to use like disposable wipes
Like Kleenex or something, like tissues.
or like wet wipes. That's generally what I
Sure.
carry more than anything else.
Yeah. Wait, is
Especially
that
in the
what you use
tropics.
handkerchiefs for? They're not like to be a decorative backdrop for your knife photos?
I know they're so useful.
No, they are
You could,
useful, yeah.
yeah. But I personally like using wet wipes more because I can use it to if especially in the tropics, not my usual location here. If I get sweaty and outside, just use it to wipe my face, wipe the sweat off, and it's a much more cooling effect with the wet wipes rather than
Oh,
just a
interesting.
straight up hang. Yeah.
So this looks like a very outdoor capable EDC, at least from what I'm
Mm,
seeing so far. Um, and then, oh yeah, so their bolt action pen goes into the back of the caddy, and then this is just like a little grab and go situation here. Here's the
mhm.
hand dump. Wow, this is a very uh, effortful kind of not effortful. There's a lot of effort put into this submission, which I really appreciate because you
Mm,
get like with this much gear, it's hard to get a lot of context just in one flat lay. So it's nice to
that's right.
see these from different angles and sort of contextualize in systems, with each other, like what's carried in the pocket, what's carried in the bag, what's carried in the caddy, and like, where the modularity sort of starts and ends. So that's really cool.
That's
And then
true.
here's the bag setup from the outside.
Yeah, nice use of Molly also. Very
Mm-hmm.
popular. This polymer clip is really popular used
Yep.
with it's just the right size to fit in two spaces of the webbing, so it's a popular like design and also
Carabiner.
functionality for
Yeah.
the carabiner.
Then you got a light
Outdoor light,
here.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. And
And of
just
course
more
nice
like attachment
patches,
points.
nice
Yeah.
patch accents. You got the blood type.
Yeah. And this is not a huge bag. This
Mm,
is this to me looks like less than 20 liters, but maybe 10 or more.
yeah, maybe 10 to 14.
Yeah. Because like the water bottle is like almost the entire length of it.
What's your opinion on water bottles and backpacks? Do you prefer an outer or an inner?
I'm gonna say I'm team
Uh-oh.
water bottle inside the backpack.
Okay, that's fair.
But let me cook, okay? It's because when I wear a backpack for symmetry and load distribution, right? I don't wear it necessarily for access.
Mm,
So if I'm gonna be wearing something for quick access, it's going to be a sling bag, right? Because that's what those are designed for.
mm,
Or when I'm in degenerate mode, a tote bag with no internal organization. I just throw
right,
everything in there because I'm just like out for a quick errand or something.
right.
But for a bag, I care a lot about load distribution. And one thing to throw off load distribution, which defeats the purpose of symmetrical straps, in my opinion, is putting 32 ounces of water on the left side of it. And then, like, I already have like QL back issues. I'm getting old. Like, I don't need any of that. So, what's better to do is take the water bottle, turn it on its side, and then put it at the
On the bottom.
bottom. Yep.
Right. Well, there's a problem carrying 32 ounces of water like a lunatic. What happened to proper like a 500 ml or 17-ounce bottle? That's too
Bro,
little
that's
water for you for
gone.
the day?
That's not enough water, dude.
Okay,
Like I
fair.
need at least 24. And yeah, and then anyway, there is a problem with that approach, and it's that a lot of the
Make
bags
sure
that I
your
use
lid is
are
tight.
yes, a lot of the bags that I use are technical waterproof bags, and I did have an issue where I didn't fully close my water bottle
Ooh.
and I had it in basically a waterproof bag. It's not quite Gore-Tex, but it's close and there's just no drainage, right?
Hmm.
So
So you
I
just
had
got
to
a
buy a
swamp.
new laptop.
You just had a
Yeah.
swamp going on in there. No drainage
Yeah, I had to
wells.
buy a new laptop. So
Ooh.
maybe the best way, actually, I figured this out. The best way is to have a technical waterproof backpack with two external water bottle pockets and then carry 64 ounces of
That's
water
it.
and leave all your tools and actual EDC gear at home to
That's
offset
it.
that weight. And then now it's perfectly
Now you're
balanced
rucking.
and you're hydrated. Exactly.
Now you're rucking.
We
And you're
figured it
hydrated
out.
while you do it. That's it.
We
That's a
figured it
move.
out. So thanks to Vampiro EDC for sharing this much better put together EDC than something I could come up with. So
For
thank
what
you
it's
for
worth,
that.
I am on team external access, but I do carry a much smaller bottle. I am team 17 to 21 ounce.
Mm.
I can't do the 32 man. It's just way too large. It gets too cumbersome for me. I'm team vending machine for a soda. There you go. That's it.
So moving on, this is over from everydaycarry.com. This is a repeat submitter, to be honest, but it's just kind of fire, so I have to show it. This is Kali again, the electrical engineer from Bosnia and Herzegovina. But this is their mountain rescue setup. So immediately, it's very colorful, high vis, and there are things that specialize in rescue, first responder type stuff, and also outdoor gear stuff, right? So it's like the perfect combination of outdoor and then emergency. And it's not too expansive, right? It's not like, well, to be honest, the last submission he did on this podcast was like, is this too much gear? So we know that they have that range. They're capable of doing that, but I appreciate that this one is a little bit more consolidated and considered. So we're starting off.
A lot of my favorite brands too. We have mechanics gloves.
I need a pair of these.
We have Phoenix flashlights, a couple of them. Two Leathermans. Is it Leathermen or Leathermans? Two of the Leathermen. A Victorinox high vis rescue tool and a Garmin Phoenix semi smartwatch, GPS watch.
Yeah.
So all my favorite brands.
Into a first aid kit pouch, right? And you got a lighter and stuff like that. So, interestingly, like there's a layer of redundancy here, right? And I think you kind of want that if you're going for an emergency response type of setup. So, you're not relying on only one thing in the case you lose it or it fails or whatever. So we can see that in the Phoenix headlamp. So you have your hands free if you have the headlamp, but then there's also just a regular kind of barrel flashlight here. Then we see two Leatherman. So you have one that's a traditional multi-tool, the Signal. The Signal has features on it that are more suited towards the outdoors. There's like a ferro rod fire starter on it. There's like a pommel, like a strike pommel for putting down tent stakes, that kind of thing. So very outdoor oriented. I think there's a saw on it as well. And then we have the Leatherman Raptor. These are folding emergency shears with things like an oxygen tank wrench, seatbelt cutter, those sorts of things. And then
basically the last shears you need to buy.
Yeah.
There's the shears.
And this high-vis Swiss Army knife rescue tool.
My big comment here is I know this guy flashlights because he has 2 extra batteries that he takes.
Yeah.
And they're not the usual 18650, the standard size. He has the big boy 21700 extra batteries. So this guy flashlights for sure. I like it.
But they're still lithium ion rechargeable.
They are. So this is where I get on my soapbox where I say I prefer AAA, AA, or CR123 batteries because they come in lithium primaries, because those are not rechargeable, but they have a large capacity and they last for 10 years on the shelf. And they're perfect for emergencies because you can also use them for extreme temperatures, emergencies, and you don't have to worry about pulling them up out of a drawer and they'll be out of charge. So for me, personally, for an emergency kit, I will go the 123 route rather than something lithium ion. But for everyday stuff, I have all lithium ion everything. So just for usability's sake.
So I have a question about that. When you're deciding between lithium ion rechargeable batteries and these lithium primary non-rechargeable batteries, particularly in the context of an emergency situation, is there a trade-off in brightness performance? Because I believe there's a difference in voltage between those types of batteries. Is that right?
Oh, good question. I
think primaries are 3 volt, no?
I actually believe lithium primaries are 3.7 volts also. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
Yeah, because I vaguely remember like back in the day before integrated lithium ion proprietary batteries that people complain about now, you would have to like very carefully select a 14500 double A sized battery, and you have to worry about like, is it long enough where the contacts make connection, and does it have a button top, or is it flat top, and don't turn it upside down. Anyway, a lot of that stuff, like part of the consideration was like voltage, and I believe some lights back in the day, not all of them were made to accommodate those lithium ion batteries because they had higher voltage compared to like the 1.5 volt.
You're right. That's right.
Yeah,
so
primaries.
lithium primaries would work in something that an alkaline could work in, which is a lower voltage.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah,
alkaline,
that's right. Yeah, so you're right. It will be a lower voltage, but you also have a much greater capacity than most rechargeable lithium ions.
Right.
I believe that is a trade-off. Higher capacity, lower voltage, and you do have the longer shelf life and that very, very low discharge rate over time.
Right.
But yes, these are the big boy 21700. It's going to take a few years for those to drain out, so you're still going to be good. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think we both agree the trade-off in voltage means you might lose a couple hundred lumens, but we are on the same page that you don't need that many lumens for most situations.
Yep. We are not the lumen monster camp.
Yeah. And we're totally wrong, because in this particular situation, this use case of rescuing people outside, maybe the 100 extra lumens is what it takes for your beam to find somebody that you're looking for or the help that you need. True. So yeah, again.
But that's also why he has 2 flashlights. This guy's covering his bases for sure.
Yeah.
He's got the headlamp and he's got the more powerful barrel flashlight.
So I think the takeaway here is just carry as many flashlights as possible when you are out on the mountain, and that will keep you safe.
Exactly. Redundancies everywhere is good.
Yeah. So thank you, Kali, again for the beautiful submission. Let's move on to the next one. This is from Rob Amsler. This is called the Paw Carry, and there's the paw. I was expecting it to be a dog. Apparently, it's a cat. That's definitely a cat paw. But what about all this gear in the way of that cat paw? We got the Hurricane Razor that Amsler himself designed.
Makes.
Yep. And this one is very interesting. It's kind of like a scalpel almost, fixed blade sort of situation, skeletonized, very cool. Big Cristal metal pen. Have not seen one of those, honestly.
I have not seen one of those. I have the regular blue tipped ones, the very generic ones. I haven't seen it in like straight silver. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's funny. Somebody on Instagram was like, "Yo, what is that pen?" And then someone's just like, "Yeah, it's a Bic."
It's a Bic.
But it looks really cool.
It does, yeah.
Yeah. Then we got classic Streamlight Microstream. We got the driver here.
I think as
AirTag
expected
attached to nothing.
I think as expected of a maker. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta have tools somewhere.
These. Yeah. And then the Mertac mid-pilot automatic watch.
Ooh,
I like
classic.
this. I like the small seconds hand on it. Funny that it's called the mid-pilot automatic watch. This watch is not mid to me. I think it's actually kind of gas. So, and also interestingly, I'm curious if people do this just for hand dump photos where they wear the watch on the underside of their wrist.
Pretty sure it's for hand dump purposes.
But there is a practical reason why. There are actually several practical reasons why you might wear your watch on the inside of your wrist. And the one that I know of is from military use, right? Where you kind of don't want to give away your location from potential reflections or something of the crystal. So it's more discreet to keep it inside the sleeve, inside your wrist that way.
Fun fact, in some movie trivia, if you watch the John Wick series, at the very start of the series, before he goes back into the underworld, he wears his watch normally, but when he's in full John Wick mode, he flips his watch over to the underside. So battle mode, sport mode engaged.
The tactical mode, engaged. Right?
Yeah. So for the movie buffs there, that's a nice detail I caught there. And he's also carrying a classic, is that a silver dollar? I don't know your American currency. That looks like a silver dollar, doesn't it?
It says Morgan silver dollar.
There you go. That's right.
Yeah. Don't know who Morgan is, but cool.
Probably important enough to be in a dollar.
Yeah, we should figure out what is going on here with these coins, because we had a conversation with Matt Hebert from Around Square a couple of episodes ago, and we talked about like using coins as kind of like a worry stone, and then also a skill toy or focus tool and that kind of thing. But I know that there are some traditions, for example, like in martial arts and stuff, where you don't want to gift someone a knife for free. It's like unlucky. So there needs to be some kind of like monetary transactionary exchange. I learned that from Tactical Tavern, Tomas. Learned that he always carries a coin on him. But I know there's also like challenge coins and there's just collectible coins. There's a whole bunch of different reasons people carry coins. So if you guys are curious about coin culture in everyday carry, or you have an answer, drop it in the comments because we love getting schooled here.
Definitely. And let us know if you're team cat paw or team dog paw as well.
I'm team human foot.
Nice.
So let's move on to Reddit. Thank you, Rob, for that. Always a pleasure to see your carries and your Hurricane Razor on the site.
I have to get me one of those for sure.
Yeah, pretty cool stuff. So this is our subreddit. This is r/everyday carry, and this is a submission from UPMG75. Simple work carry for a Sunday in the office. And what do we got here? We got a retro game console. We got a Sony Walkman. And then we got a keychain setup that's been well loved, very much used, with a knife and key organizer and flashlight, and then a portable Bluetooth wireless speaker.
I have that speaker. It's pretty good. But
nice.
I'm curious what kind of work he gets done on the Sunday if this is his carry. Seems like a lot of sitting around and listening to music and playing some games.
Yeah. And this is kind of funny to me. I think this is an interesting carry just because aside from the core EDC stuff being like an Orbit key organizer, and then a 58 millimeter Swiss Army knife, and i3E, I think, an Olight i3E.
Yeah, the old Olight.
So like,
yep.
This for most people is like a solid EDC setup already, right?
Absolutely.
And then you add some personal entertainment and gadgets to it, which I think is funny, because I used to collect handheld consoles. I just like stuff that has a battery and fits in your pocket, basically. So I had, I don't think I had an Anbernic, but I had some other retro consoles, and then I got really into Game Boys, and then I'm also into portable music players and Walkman type stuff.
You have the Z series, right, for the Sony Walkman?
I do have the Signature Series stuff. So I have everything from like their entry level Linux based small ones that are like super pocketable to like the chassis made of gold, expensive audiophile one. So I just appreciate this.
Yeah. At my age, I've just had the basic ass Walkman for the cassettes and for the Discmans for the CD player. So that's the extent of my Sony portable hardware back in the 90s.
Yeah. But I just want to say I wanted to highlight this because I found it interesting that this had so many upvotes. I'm going to upvote it myself. This had so many upvotes where the core EDC gear, right, that we've all kind of learned to love and appreciate about EDC is not like center stage here. It's really like the gaming device and the portable audio player, the digital audio player. And I think that's really interesting. And I'm going to call it now. I think we will see more of this embraced in the EDC culture, and then more of the tech communities embracing the idea of EDC. I think that's going to happen. I think we're just getting to a point in, I don't know, society and culture where we might not, I don't want to say we won't value as much, but we won't limit ourselves to just pure manual functional utility. And then instead we'll have a little bit more fun, I think. And
Yeah,
we'll find
absolutely.
ourselves in situations where if we're in the office on a Sunday, yeah, we're going to play a little music out loud, you know? That's okay.
I one comment I have here is his keychain setup is a lot of like yesteryear classics, but are still good today.
They're still good.
Yeah, and that's I like that balance between super reliable tools that have been around 10 plus years and paired with like super new stuff as well. So it's not
Hmm.
that it's not that he's behind, it's just that these classic tools do still work for the longest time, enough that they're already like he's pairing them with devices that came out in the last 5 years, and
Right.
still, they're still in part of the same carry. So I like that duality there.
Yeah, that's an important point to remember for people that are maybe thinking about upgrading their EDC. You don't
Mhm.
necessarily need the latest and greatest, and
Exactly.
a lot of these older tools are still good today for a lot of people. So chances
Mhm.
are it'll be serviceable for you too. It's just
Mhm.
like if you do appreciate being on the cutting edge and like, having the best specs or whatever. I know how that goes. Like I've been through that sort of same upgrade cycle. Um,
Mhm.
that's okay too. But I hope you don't realize that it's like a necessity to be a legit EDCer, right?
Mhm.
It's funny because you'll see some people say like, "Oh, I want to see the like use and abuse tools," and then there are other people who are like, "Oh, that's like a cheap old thing. Like you're not an EDCer. You don't have the
Mhm.
latest and greatest like Knip X pliers or whatever is like trending right now, right?" So,
Mhm.
um,
And we see this, just to bring it back a little bit, we saw this earlier with the two knives, right? Somebody's carrying a more modern knife, and
yeah.
carrying a classic knife. So, sides of the same coin, two themes to it. But yeah, important thing to remember is a lot of these tools actually will last a long time. So you don't always have to keep replacing them. Unlike,
Mm-hmm.
say, ironically, a lot of the modern devices in this shot might get outlived by the tools because of the battery. Eventually, 5 to 6 years from
Yeah.
now, the batteries are going to degrade to the point of uselessness, and the tools are going to keep on tooling.
Yep.
So,
And then there will be psychopaths like me who feel nostalgic for these inferiorly made gadgets, then buy them off eBay broken, then refurbish
mm,
them, and then make YouTube videos about them. So,
that's right.
yep. Thank you to PMG75 for sharing your submission to the
Mm,
community. So let's move to the next Reddit submission. This is from you, Fiendcuster. What I
mm.
brought to work today says always have my box cutter, pen, and flashlight in my pockets, and the multi-tool stays in my bag. Items are Leatherman Surge, Streamlight Wedge, Rotring 800, and Tyrant Razor V3. I knew all that. I didn't need that explanation. I would have guessed all of that correctly.
I love the square theme. You were mentioning in a TikTok that the
Mm-hmm.
feature is square, and these
Mm-hmm.
are great examples of it. And incidentally, that it's coming back around because the two of these tools are very, very much so classics. The Rotring 600, I use that pen myself. That's been
Mm-hmm.
around since what, the 60s, the 50s. That is one of the most classic pens you can ever get. Drafting style pen with a
Yep.
very narrow tip with a refill just sticking out all the way to the very end. And the Leatherman Surge is also a classic. I believe that's also one of their 10 plus year old designs,
Mm-hmm.
but updated with a topo blackout style. And really, really big fan of both Streamlight wedges. This is the larger one with a rotary dial, I believe. And yeah, I really like that one.
Yeah, I think this is the first Streamlight Wedge. So it's
Hmm.
bigger, better output. One thing I appreciate is these are all durable, well-made tools, and you can tell that they've been used and they're standing up
Mm,
to that use, right?
definitely.
I had an interesting thought though just now. I'm definitely not doubting Fiendcuster as a submitter that he's using all this, but
Mm,
this is just a thought exercise. Imagine we saw this photo and somebody told us that they've been using this for years, but what they were actually doing is just they put them all in one pocket and they just carry it around, but they don't
mm,
actually use any of it, and it develops this kind of patina. Then you'd have
mm.
people on the internet being like, "Yeah, sick, well used gear," and they would like never know. Um, but who would do that? Who would lie on the internet? Sorry. strange thought I had. But let's go back to what is so great about this carry. Yeah, for people who don't know, the Rotring or Rotring, what's it called?
600.
Pens. Yeah, they are.
Mm.
This is the 800 actually, but I have a 600.
Okay.
I think the 600 is a pencil. It's a mechanical pencil,
Right,
which makes more sense for like drafting uses. But I believe these are like made of solid brass or something. It's definitely entirely metal, so it's heavy, hefty, durable, and it has this cool hexagonal middle barrel, so it has anti-roll and then like aggressive knurling at the grip section
Very
and the back
aggressive.
section. So like durability and precision is the name of the game when it comes to pens like these. So these are really good. I would maybe not recommend them for pocket carry because it's like the drafting style with the precision tip that's kind of exposed. It's not like other pens that either have a cap that posts or a retractable tip, which is more common, what you see now. And the meta is like kind of trending towards the bolt action, right? Because it can retract the tip. It's just more durable in the pocket that way.
So those can poke a hole in your pocket if you accidentally left it open.
Yeah. And then interesting comment I got the other day when I shared my everyday carry update. Somebody was like, why is this guy using knives to open boxes? Like, everyone knows you should be using a box cutter for that with disposable replaceable blades. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense too. But then you also see it when I make like reviews about box cutters. People are like, why would you carry a box cutter? You should be carrying an EDC knife. I'm like, dude, I don't know anymore. I either carry both of them at once or I don't carry anything at all and I just be quiet. But this is one of my favorite box cutters because
Definitely.
it does feel like a pocket knife. It's a frame lock. And it's
I actually haven't seen this design before with the ruler on it. That's
ruler,
pretty cool.
Yeah. I think it's still made of titanium too. Yeah, TI series. So very cool.
And then he has a nice embellishment with the lanyard and the bullet end of it.
I'm curious if anyone's watching or listening, like, do you use a lanyard on your knife? Because we're seeing that in a lot of these very popular, like well-received, highly engaged with photos, but I don't see them too often, and I don't use them too often. So I'm curious if you use one and why. Is it a functional thing? Is it a style thing? Is it both? And then maybe we'll do a deeper dive into that at some point.
Generally, they're used for retrieval, right? Because you're technically you want a knife that sits super flush in your pocket, deep carry pocket clip. So it's a little harder to retrieve. And some people leave the lanyard bit out of it so that they can
just
retrieve
dangling
it in their
out,
pocket.
so you could yank
Yeah.
it. Yep.
And then the other way I've seen it used is if it's a smaller knife. I've seen this very popular before with a smaller Spyderco Dragonfly.
Yep.
It's
That's
a smaller
exactly
knife.
what I was thinking.
Yeah, and they have the extra little bit at the end so that it becomes a full grip carry because you can grab with your pinky. You can grab onto the tail end of
it. Just gives you a little more purchase for a knife that's maybe too small, and you know, a lot of the smaller knives that we see, like, people don't use them as primary EDCs, and they don't make them any bigger by adding these lanyards because they're often relegated to like caddy or slip or pouch duty, right? So you don't see them that often. And I think the lanyard with the bead and all that, it's more the enthusiast collector type EDCer.
Yeah,
I don't think it's like the newer EDCer is going to think to do that. So if we get some good responses and reasons why to maybe consider adding a lanyard, maybe I'll make like a little video for people who are new to the concept. One last thing that I remember is a lot of these lanyards are made of like 550 paracord, like parachute cord, right? And if you don't know what that is, it's just like very durable cordage that I think holds 550 pounds of tensile strength, and it's used in parachutes, right? That's like the point of it.
The official ones. There are knockoff 550 paracord, so be sure you're buying you're getting what you're buying.
And I'm not suggesting like you rig up a parachute with your knife lanyard cordage, but if you just need a little bit of rope or string or something, and you're willing to sacrifice your fancy decorative lanyard in a pinch, then yeah, you can undo that, and then you have access to cordage in an emergency. So
similarly, the way, you know how people used to wrap duct tape around a lighter just to have just like that extra
like a spool of duct
usability
tape,
just in case. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, cool.
So thank you, Fiend Custer and the Reddit community for doing that. Let's jump into the last set of submissions from our Discord. I'm going to close this Nightcore tweet. Who's this from? This is from...
I believe this is Decode.
Decode, yes.
That's right, Decode.
And this is a blacked out carry. Speak of the devil. I thought I was spitting, and this guy is adding a paracord lanyard to a tiny knife. So I'm just wrong, apparently.
And it's the same like bullet casing thing from the last submission.
Oh, was it?
Is it? It is.
Oh, it looks very similar. Yeah. Oh, that's an interesting
theme.
Way to
this was totally by chance, by the way. This was these little details were not curated.
Yeah. So what are we looking at here? The core EDC seems to be a Gerber box cutter, actually. So very similar to this past one. This is the EAB, I believe, the exchanger blade. And this is just an affordable, tested Gerber utility knife that also doubles as a money clip if you want to, because of this wide, flat pocket clip that it comes with. Paired with the utility of a smaller Swiss Army knife. Yep.
Yeah, classic SD again.
Yep. And then you got some matches here, a matchbook there, kind of a chambray bandana. Looks a little bit bigger than a standard tank. And then
what looks to be a classic Streamlight.
Streamlight,
also.
Yeah. Like a pen form factor Streamlight.
Yeah.
And then it's probably some kind of G-Shock square. I can't really tell from the face. And then you've got a Game Boy Advance SP. And judging by the color and contrast of the screen here, it might be
the original.
A backlit, no, not the original, a revision that's more sought after now, the AGS-101. And
damn,
these are, I know. So I could talk about that, but I'm not going to. The point is, the Game Boy Advance SP is probably one of the best EDC-able retro handheld consoles that is not like emulation in terms of design and form factor, because it folds. It's like clamshell. Yep. And it's very lightweight because it's plastic, that kind of thing. And not the most ergonomic, but very cool. But this is not a Game Boy review channel. If it was, 11 out of 10. What do you think about the rest of the carry, though?
Well, all black out. What am I going to say? Of course, it's going to be cool to me.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was telling you when we were putting these submissions together, there seems to be a theme, and which is a nice theme, that people are carrying more casual devices, like entertainment devices, as part of their quote unquote core EDC. So, and of course, appearances by all the classics: G-Shock, Victorinox, Gerber EAB, and the Streamlight. Classics, can't go wrong. Still good today as they were 10 years ago. So nothing to complain about, really.
You know what would be amazing? If this photo was actually taken 13 years ago and then just for fun pulled out of a hard drive or a floppy disk or whatever, and then no, not a floppy disk, that's way too far ago. Just a USB stick. And it's like, oh yeah, look at all these photos on this USB stick. I'm gonna post on Discord for fun, and nobody will know that it's actually taken a long time ago.
I do have pictures of my EDC from 12, 13 years ago, so I actually can do that.
Yeah, me too.
And they were,
Maybe we should do that. Maybe next month in our community update, we'll sneak in some of our own and pretend that it's somebody else. Gabe, producer, can you make that happen and just just slip it in there and don't tell either one of us, and then the other person will review it, and then we'll realize oh, we've been had.
Wait a minute. I know this watch.
Yeah, this is cool. I like this. I I like this setup. It's not over the top, still covers a lot of bases. Not a single cell phone in sight, just vibing.
This guy's going to work on a Sunday. That's what it is.
Yeah, okay. So thank you, Decode, for that.
Yep.
I hope this carry serves you well, and your Game Boy Advance SP doesn't have backlight bleed, and you can enjoy that for much longer. Okay. Next, we got one from That Nameless Guy. These are very much more modern picks. I think these are all like pretty new within the past, just couple of years, and very colorful, youthful kind of carry.
Shout outs to Nameless One.
Yeah,
very chatty, very friendly in our Discord. So shout outs.
Chill member in the Discord. Come hang out. So what do we got here? We got a Best Tech Man button lock in purple. Very cool. And then we've also got kind of a purple desert rose, pale pink kind of Benchmade mini bug out.
Yeah, looks like a mini bug out.
Yeah, the mini bug out. And then we got this kind of decorated O-light here.
Yeah. Looks like an i3T also. Yeah, one of the variants.
Yeah, and it's sort of
and a variation in the coin. I believe I forgot the name of the maker, but he makes egg themed challenge coins, collectible type things. Yeah, and that's the coin in the middle. Yeah,
you cannot put this into a vending machine.
No,
but
or the arcade. Or
it is still pretty cool. It is an egg, like a fried egg, but with like this Japanese nature inspired theme. So,
and it's not going over my. It's not going to go over my head that the colors of the egg is kind of matching the hank and also both knives.
True. And same with like some of the anodization on the O-Light. You kind of get that orange here and the different accents on this sort of like
Star Wars.
retro Star Wars theme. Yeah.
I love it.
I want to say, so it looks like Renegade is the make of the hanks. Pretty cool. Yeah, so I don't know how this is going to function in a full, daily EDC kind of thing. But you do have your bases covered with your light and your knives. I believe this was a happy Valentine's Day kind of carry. So that might be where some of the pink inspiration came from. But some cool stuff. What can we say about Best Tech Man?
But first, don't be afraid to add color to EDC because, really
I don't think you are qualified to say that, Mikey. I will do the talking here. Yes.
Hey now.
I have color in my EDC.
That's right.
But yeah, I do appreciate this. Best Tech Man, Best Tech, they make knives. They're like a Chinese brand and they manufacture knives. But I think Best Tech Man is their higher end version. So Best Tech is more on the budget side. Best Tech Man, more premium materials like and like technologies and stuff. They have a pretty solid stable of designers from what I remember when I saw them at SHOT Show. So cool stuff here, and I hope it works out well for That Nameless Guy, because I think this was a fairly new acquisition for them. But
cool.
I think wraps up the submission. Some good stuff this time around. So thank you again for everyone who's submitted. That just about wraps it up for today's episode. If you made it this far, thanks so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed today's discussion. And if you did, please subscribe. If you're listening through a podcast service and you really enjoy what we do here, please consider also leaving a review and a positive rating, as it really helps the show. You can follow us on social media for more content daily on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. All of that will be linked below. And if you want to be a part of these communities that we highlighted here today, you can feel free to hop into our Facebook group and Discord server for more real-time discussion with other EDCers and places to just share your EDC and get feedback and that sort of thing. So lastly, if you have any feedback for us or any questions you want answered on the show, you can shoot us an email at podcast@everydaycarry.com. So thank you for listening to Carried Away, and thank you for your submissions. I'm Bernard.
And I'm Mikey. And let us know the last thing that you had to surrender at security.
Yeah. And until the next one, peace.